What up, tribe? It's your brother back again, Mahka, with another video. Today, I'm gonna break down some principles of shamanism and kind of give the viewer a better understanding, or give them a little more clarity on some aspects. I mean, this is a vast subject. I mean, I can go on and on for hours and hours and hours. So I'm gonna try to condense it some, and I'm not gonna touch on every subject, but I'm gonna do multiple videos to consistently put it together. So before we get started, my attitude is gratitude. I'm thankful for the information and knowledge that the ancestors and the Most High has bestowed upon me. I'm thankful for being able to be a humble servant and provide you with this information that will be life transforming. I'm thankful for having an open mind and an open heart. I'm thankful for cosmic love, for love of nature, for love of people. I'm thankful for everything: a place to stay, food to eat, a vehicle to drive, money in the bank, health, wealth, my vision, my hearing. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all the lessons in life. I'm thankful for the failures, and I'm thankful for the successes as well. Shout out to the ancestors known and unknown. Shout out to the gods known and unknown. And shout out to you, my family and friends. Creator, use me in a mighty way so that I may disseminate this information, so that they may be more enlightened and have a better understanding of the shaman. So let's start with the word shaman. The word shaman actually is an Indian word, and it means holy man. Okay? A shaman has the ability to connect with the three worlds. So you have what's called the upper world, the middle world, and the underworld or lower world. These are just different planes of existence that's not in the physical realm, so to speak. So the middle world would be more physical, we would say. But the underworld would definitely not be physical, and the upper world definitely is not in the physical. These are different planes of consciousness in which the shaman or the practitioner would go to assess these issues. The way that the shaman would access these different worlds is called the axis mundi. The axis mundi, which is the shamanic tree of life. And it is the axis of the worlds. The way that the practitioner or the shaman is to reach these worlds is through what's called trance. So it will be the beating of the drum, or will be the rattle. The beautiful thing is that the shaman physically is not responsible for the cure, because you have what's called power animals and spiritual helpers. And what it is that the shaman has the ability to be a conduit or a vessel and able to receive messages beyond this realm of reality, because, you know, the shaman is supposed to be able to heal. The shaman goes into, just looking at my notes, y'all. The shaman goes into a state of trance with the use of the drum, and it allows to enter the spirit realm or act as a mouthpiece for the spirit being. So the shaman has the ability to contact the spirit world and to bring back information and messages from maybe ancestors passed on, or maybe a loved one, or whatever it necessarily may be. You know, you may be suffering from some illness that may be like through generations and from family to family, and that ancestor can come back through and say, hey, listen, this was this, I died of that, the doctor thought it was this, but upon my death, you know, it really was this. So you can get some insight from a different perspective, or from a different realm of reality, or a different dimension, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it says the shaman will travel to one of the worlds accompanied by a power animal or a spirit helper, using the axis mundi. So imagine this tree. In the middle of the trunk represents the middle world, and as you go up into the branches, that represents the upper world, and then down in the roots, it represents the underworld. And these are the three worlds that the shaman gets familiarity with, and it's just whichever one is more successful for that particular practitioner, he will utilize. There's no one way to do it, because remember, like I said before, the power animal or the spirit helper actually gives the shaman the information that he or she needs to literally help heal the client, or the, whatever. Yeah, we call it the client. It's for, so when we talk about sickness and we talk about healing, I mean, you have different aspects of healings. You have a healer that can heal with herbs. He can give you herbs and fruits and vegetables. A healer that can heal with their hands, Reiki masters, manipulating energies in the body. You have those that can heal with the gods, that can pull down and heal with the higher spirits, as we call them. I'm calling them gods, but I'm saying higher entities, higher level entities can also heal. In the shamanic realm, which is one of the most ancient, it's really the first form of religion, or the first form of magic, or whatever you want to say, is shamanism. I don't care if it's voodoo, Santeria, Wicca, it's all shamanism. It's all shamanism. From different perspectives. But you have 4 major categories of shamanic healing. And I'm going to talk about the illness, or I'm talking about the symptoms, or the different categories. So the first category would be lack of, well, first of all, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, because you have the 4 bodies. You have the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body, and the physical body. And whenever there's an imbalance in one of the bodies, the practitioner or the shaman is to come in, and the power animal will give the shaman the information that's needed to be given to the practitioner, to the client, or given the instruction to the shaman on what to do, whether you're going to heal with herbs, whether the animal spirit's going to heal, or whatever has to be done. Okay. And the illness is an expression of an imbalance in one of those emotional bodies that I just spoke of. And like I said, once again, that the shaman will assess the issues, but his information comes from his power animal or the spiritual helper. One aspect of shamanism that I forgot to mention is that the shaman heals himself first. Him or her, I shouldn't say him, but she or he heals themselves first. And then from the information gathered and the wisdom and the experience, they're able to go on and heal other people. It's just like Dr. Sabi. He healed himself first. He got the finished product, or he created the formula, and then he just took the formula and he applied it, and then he began to heal other people. So the first person that the shaman must heal is themselves, because this is where you get the formula on how to treat other clients or other individuals that may suffer from an imbalance in one of the 4 energetic bodies. So one of the first of the 4 major categories of shamanic healing, the first one will be lack of power in the energy body. And this is what will make you susceptible to sickness, because sickness starts in the spiritual world and it manifests in the physical. So if you lack in power, then the shaman would have to do what's called power retrieval, to bring the power back to whichever energetic body, whether it be the mental, the physical, the spiritual, or the emotional body is lacking. The next section would be an imbalance of energetic body. Energy management is disturbed and shifted. In other words, there's an imbalance in the system overall. So you may have a deficiency in more than one area. You may have it emotional, and then you may have it physical, because one energetic body can affect the next energetic body. So if your mental is not right, if you mentally feel or think that you're sick, then physically it will manifest. Therefore, that is a dysfunction in 2 categories and not 1. And so usually in that situation, if the shaman assesses the mental aspect of the situation, or comes in and helps the client to get their mind right and to think in a different manner, it is going to help subside the symptoms, because the mind is a very powerful thing. This is the hub. This is the controller of the vessel. This is the mothership. Your pineal gland is here. So if you have mental dysfunction, it will eventually affect you physically, because you are what you think you are. mental illness is very prevalent, and you know, it's very prevalent. A lot of people suffer from mental illness, and it goes overlooked, but it affects the physical. It's just like fear. Oh my God, I'm scared. I'm scared. It affects the liver. Fear is a very one of the most worst ones, because it makes you act out of character. It'll, you know, the paranoia, the fear. Oh, the sky is falling. Oh, they're coming to get me. You know, so that definitely would be a detriment to a client. So the shaman would have to recognize that, or the power animal or the spirit helper will come and disseminate the information to the shaman to let that he or she know that this is what's going on with the client and this is what needs to be done. The next category is intrusion. It is when a foreign energy has penetrated into one of the four bodies. And the shaman has to do what's called spirit extraction to remove the foreign energy from the client. You know, that's a fancy word for pretty much saying attaching spirits, or the spirit of depression, or so these are foreign spirits that attach to us or enter into our energetic bodies, whether it be mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual bodies. And then the last technique would be of the major four. I'm sure there's many more, but these are the four that I focus on. Soul loss. So let's say in your childhood, you have a traumatic experience and you're young. So there's really, it may be a hidden thing. Maybe the child has been molested or physically beaten by its parent, or neglected, or whatever the case may be. This child or the individual, a part of the soul, will distance itself and take refuge in other worlds. So in actuality, a part of the soul is actually detached to protect itself, because it doesn't want to consistently experience the pain over and over and over. So the shaman would have to go down into the other world, whichever world it's in, whether it's the upper world, middle world, or underworld, and help retrieve those parts of the soul. It's like the soul is like fragmented, like a computer. Like, you know, if you ever defrag the computer, so it's like in different places. Therefore, if that perspective of the energy body is missing or is defragged, it's not going to function. It's not gonna function in the most productive way or the most benefactor way for the individual. And the shaman will be required to do what is called soul retrieval. Now, it's ironic. When I was in Arizona, I was in Arizona on sabbatical for I think like 5 years, and I had an opportunity to work with a client. It was a young lady, and she had a lot of childhood trauma. And I was new at this, so I didn't understand really what was happening. I just played the drum. It was a certain hertz, and I went into trance. And as I went into trance, I saw a tree before me, and in the tree sat a hawk. And immediately, my vision saw through the eyes of the hawk. And I remember flying down. And as I flew down, it got darker and darker and darker and darker to where I couldn't see. And then as I begin to rise back up, I come down and I see a tree, and I perch on a tree. And as I look down, I turn back into my human self. And I see a little baby. And I pick the baby up in my arms, and I walk the baby into the light. And as I walk the baby into the light, the trance takes me back to the tree again, and I have to fly down all over again. And this time, as I went down for the client, it was a toddler. It was a woman. She was a toddler, maybe around like 3 or 4. And I went to her, and I actually picked her up, and I walked her into the light. And then it took me back to the tree again, in the upper world, I would imagine, or the middle world. And then I flew back down again. And this time when I went down, she was a teenager. And so when I tried to take her, walk her to the light, she was resistant. She was crying, but you know, it was ironic that I didn't really understand what was going on at that time. But for some reason, You know, maybe I wasn't experienced enough, or I didn't have enough training, so to speak, to where I could successfully walk this teenager to the light, so to speak. The ironic thing is, once the client got up, you know, she was laying down. You know, she had tears in her eyes, and she was explaining to me that she just kept seeing this bright light as she was laying there. You know, she said she would hear like this weird sound, like a popping sound, and then she just kept saying she saw the light. The ironic thing is that I had no control over anything that was happening. Everything was kind of happening on autopilot. And the experience was amazing. I wasn't even afraid of it. It was kind of like I had done it before. And it was an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience for me, and for the client to give me confirmation that actually the things that I was seeing when I was in trance, that she was actually seeing on her end. And it just, you know, she kept saying, I kept seeing this man, and I kept seeing this weird looking guy. And I asked her, I said, did he look like me? And she said, no, he didn't look like you. He looked like some other guy. He looked weird. Like, she tried to describe him. And it's just, I think it was just amazing. Maybe it was a spiritual helper. Maybe, you know, she didn't talk about seeing the bird, but she just kept talking about that man. And when I was in trance, I just kept walking her to the light. And then this is the other thing I didn't say. When I would see, like, when I picked the baby up, like half of the baby's face had a deformity on it. And it was representation of this child was violated, and that it was a childhood trauma. And then when I seen her as a little toddler, it was the same thing. It was disfiguration. So like half of the face looked human, but half of the face looked like distorted and like, you know, and it was just symbolic of the different traumas that this woman had experienced throughout life. And a lot of us have traumas. And I didn't even understand that that was soul retrieval, because she had soul loss. And when she basically explained to me the different things she had been through, they were suppressed, and they were issues that she never really dealt with. So I had an opportunity to be used by the spirit, and you know, to be of service to, you know, mankind, and it was an amazing thing. Anybody that's watching this video, if you're interested in shamanism and this is something you want to do, the first thing you got to understand is that you're just a vessel and you're a conduit. You don't want to be egotistical. You need to be humble in spirit, because this is a blessing. This is an opportunity for you to be used in a mighty way and to be able to make a difference for all mankind. It is some pros and cons to this, because, you know, you have things like the dark forces and Damionian energy, and we have, so as practitioners, or whatever you want to call them, light workers, whatever your titles you want to call, you got to remember that there's going to be some type of form of opposition, and that you have to understand that, you know, once you sign up for this, there's no turning back, because you don't choose this, it chooses you. I was minding my business, and this chose me. I had a desire to help the people. I had a desire, and I still have a desire to help the people. And this is why I do the animals. Speaking of that, because I want to encourage you, because I have my own story. I have been through my own situations. I have dealt with various issues, and this is what puts me in a perspective, in a position that I'm in. And so I'm thankful, because the negative things that happened in my life absolutely weren't negative. They were absolutely catalysts to compel me to be what I am today. So I'm thankful for the ups and downs. But now that I've shed a little bit of light, and I have more videos coming, because I didn't just go into the 3 worlds, and I know you're probably thinking, what's the 3 worlds? That's another video. I just wanted you to have an understanding of the different techniques of healing, the 4 energetic bodies, the 3 worlds, and this is from a shamanic perspective. All right, so I'm gonna pull random. We're gonna see what the card is today. Oh, it's amazing, because that was one I pulled the other day. Maybe these cards aren't shuffled enough. All right, hit it up a couple more times. Yes, yes, yes. If you have any questions for me, you can put them down in a comment, and I'll do my best to answer them as best as I possibly can. Like I said, I'd like to welcome you to this channel. This is Shaman Mo. I've had to change the name many times because I would pick names and other people would already have it. So today is the horse, right here. The horse family. And it says, the horse is kind, intelligent beast that has frequently been associated with serious events or important events in life. In the Chinese zodiac, horse people are friendly, adventurous, and passionate. In Greek mythology, the winged horse Pegasus was the source of inspiration and poetry. Horses have been also associated with sexuality or fertility. In the Hindu Ramayana, the king Dasartha asked the gods to grant him a son, and to please them, sets a magnificent horse free for 1 year. Upon the horse's return, Dasartha receives word that he will have 4 sons, all of whom become the incarnation of the god Vishnu, the preserver of life on earth. The horse in the painting titled Age of the Avatar recalls the magnificent horse of Ramayana. The Hindu word Avatara, descended to the earth, refers to Vishnu's ability to assume an earthly form. Hold up. Let me tell you something. I remember seeing films and about them trying to break horses, and the horse would be wild, and they couldn't, trying to break a horse so that it can put a saddle on its back and ride it. It was a challenge because these beautiful beasts were wild animals. The channel I'm getting is about freedom. Somebody watching this, you're dealing with freedom. You don't feel free, you feel trapped. You must feel free. Think about the horse as it just runs. Just imagine that horse just galloping through the meadow, just running through the meadow and just free to graze wherever it wants to be. Think about that beautiful mane. They take horses and they race them for money and different things like that. But this is the first form of transportation. A car is actually the replica of a horse. That's why, you got horsepower inside of a vehicle. Horses were used for various things. Tilling the land, pulling wood, transportation. And they just eat grass. It's amazing design that this animal just grazes and eats grass. And so the horse is amazing. It represents freedom, intelligence, wisdom. And like I said, I'm getting the channel. Someone that's watching this video, you don't feel free, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's at your job, you don't feel free, you feel restricted. Freedom is very important. You must feel free. If you're in bondage, any type of mental bondage, it will manifest physically. My recommendation is to get more freedom is to be able to detach and punch out of this world as much as you possibly can through meditation, maybe sun gazing. Get out in nature. The physical world is fine, but we must punch out of this physical world and be able to detox. So it's cool to have a great job and it's cool to get to the bag, but we need to get back into nature. We need to get back out and breathe in that good air and let that sunlight hit you and let that third eye get those light codes. So listen, if you're feeling trapped and you're not feeling free, so like I said, I would recommend if you're dealing with any type of depression, I would say for you to seek counsel. You can go to, I'm sure there's places that may provide it for free. You can get counsel of somebody who you trust. But I would recommend that if you're dealing with any external issues or any internal issues, that you seek some type of help and you deal with the problems or the stress, because we all have stresses, we all have issues that we go through, and you must find your method. One of my methods, like I said, I sun gaze, I get out in nature, I plant my feet, I release negative thoughts, I focus my mind on a more happier place in time and life, and I just try to move with an attitude of gratitude. So listen, this is your brother Mahka. I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope that the people watching got a better understanding and more enlightenment. And like I said, listen, if you want to be a healer, you may be a healer right now. Remember, you're just a vessel being utilized. And that's how we got to kind of keep it. You know, my gifts are the gifts that was granted and given to me. And they only increase because I use them for to help, you know, mankind, not necessarily for my own personal needs. Because like I said, I have people who I get counsel from. I have spiritual brothers and spiritual sisters. And so listen, this is my recommendation. Like I said, that horse represents that freedom. Make sure you take your freedom back. If you feel like you're losing anything, take your freedom back. How do you take your freedom back? You go to that happy place in your mind. When you go meditate today, I want you, when you sit down, I want you to think back to happier times and just resonate it in your mind. Resonate it in your mind. This is how you use the past to your benefit. A lot of times we're sitting up and we're thinking about the negative things that happened in the past, which is literally affecting our present time. So at the end of the day, this is where you have to overstand and understand that health is wealth. That mental wellness is key, because this is the hub that runs the whole vessel. So hey, thank y'all for stopping by my channel. If you're really stressed out, I want you to go over to Deep Meditation Nation and go watch you some videos. It has amazing, I've put frequencies behind the music to uplift your spirit and your energy. And listen, I'll be back real soon with another video for you guys. Today, I just wanted to touch bases on what a shaman was and how it worked. And don't forget the animal of the day, which was the horse. Peace, family.